I think this spot looks good. Do you think it looks good?
Suzuka asks, running ahead to a particularly warm and sunny patch on the beach.
I'm fine with wherever you want to settle, Suzuka.
Ludwig responds, walking delicately across the sand to join Suzuka's side.
I think we should picnic here then.
Ah, very well then.
Ludwig smiles at Suzuka as he circles around the spot he picked, like an animal about to lay down for a comfortable nap. He holds out the picnic basket around his arm, which Suzuka takes the blanket from and lays down. As they get settled, Ludwig pulls out a handheld fan and his wand. Using his magic, he levitates the umbrella Suzuka was holding, sinking the pole deep into the sand.
I kinda like how warm it is.
I do too. Although you may find yourself wanting to join me under here after a while.
Maybe.
Suzuka looks back to Ludwig. Suzuka wears that smile Ludwig has found himself comparing to the sunset, capturing his attention. His dark purple hair looks so silky under the sun's rays. His pale purple scales look so well cared for.
The sun does radiate you quite wonderfully,
Ludwig murmurs, before he's able to stop himself. Suzuka blushes, but his smile doesn't fade. Seemingly unfazed, Suzuka sets up the lunch they packed. Ludwig fans at his own heated face, quickly grabbing the sunglasses he packed.
Why did I say that? It sounds like I didn't mean it like that at all. Wait, did I? No, I couldn't.
Ludwig's mind races. Suzuka is his best friend. His family provides his lord with accessories and fashions. He's also a good friend to his siblings. Even Suzuka's sisters are friends with his own siblings. It feels so awkward and wrong, these awakening feelings inside him. Then again, Ludwig isn't sure if what he's feeling is something more than friendship for Suzuka.
Luddy? I've got your cake, if you want it.
Oh.
Ludwig snaps out of his thoughts.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
Taking the plate, Ludwig peels the cling wrap off. Suzuka glances at Ludwig as he eats, taking a few bites himself before speaking up again.
You still feeling stressed out?
Well...
Ludwig pauses. He knows Suzuka is thinking he carried the stress of home with him to the beach, which would be quite easy to play along with, if Ludwig's mind wouldn't berate himself for even fathoming of lying to Suzuka.
You could say that,
he answers, avoidant. Suzuka smiles softly, scooting over to sit next to Ludwig under the umbrella.
Try to focus on the now,
he says, taking Ludwig's hand fan to create gentle currents.
We're having a nice little picnic on the beach, away from any loud noises or interruptions. Just you and me.
Ludwig can't help but grin at Suzuka's antics. Rolling his eyes, he playfully swats the fan away, eliciting giggles from Suzuka.
Hey!
Thank you, Susie.
Anytime, you big meanie.
They giggle with each other, dorky grins stretching their cheeks. Giving Suzuka a playful nudge, Ludwig returns his focus to his cake. Suzuka follows, but quickly finishes his packed lunch.
But really, thanks for coming out with me today,
Suzuka says, discarding his trash into the picnic basket.
I should be the one thanking you,
Ludwig replies, swallowing his bite.
It was you who took notice and prevented me from overworking myself. It's not often anyone does that for me.
Well, I couldn't help but notice. The only other Koopa I've ever seen work themselves so hard is my mother and...
Suzuka trails off, brushing back some of his hair.
I don't want anyone to have to break their limits like that. Especially not you.
Ludwig relaxes his shoulders, looking into Suzuka's gentle and concerned eyes.
You're very sweet, Susie. I appreciate your concern.
Ludwig smiles fondly. Before resuming, he finishes his slice of cake, setting the plate down.
It's always been this way for me, though. I guess I don't want you to worry about me in the same way that you don't want me to worry.
Ludwig chuckles warmly. Suzuka tries to smile back, but falters.
It shouldn't have to be that way,
he says, almost whispering.
Perhaps not.
Ludwig agrees, looking down, but still smiling. He picks up his hand fan, running his claw along the creases of the paper.
This is what's so wonderful about you, you know.
Suzuka's lips part, but no sound escapes. He feels his face grow warm. It's not just the sun. Ludwig looks back up at Suzuka's eyes.
Never change, Susie.
I don't think I could if I tried.
Suzuka bashfully chuckles, fidgeting with his hair. Ludwig lets out a soft laugh.
You're so adorable.
No, I'm not.
Suzuka whines, his hands covering his flushed face. Ludwig can't help but laugh harder.
Oh, you poor thing. I don't mean to embarrass you.
Ludwig rubs the scoots of Suzuka's shell, trying to calm him down. As he patiently waits for Suzuka to recollect himself, his ears pick up the sounds of the beach around them. The palm trees sway in the subtle breeze, and the waves gently crash against the shore. Ludwig looks around him. Seeing they still have the beach all to themselves, he gets an idea to make Suzuka feel better.
Hey, why don't we step into the water? It's bound to feel great in this weather.
We're supposed to wait 30 minutes after eating to swim,
Suzuka says, pulling his hands away from his face, still a bit red.
Woohoo! We don't need to swim. We're just going to dip our feet in.
Ludwig smiles, standing up from the picnic blanket. Extending a hand to Suzuka, he says,
Come on! We should take advantage while no one else is around.
Okay.
Suzuka takes Ludwig's hand, following him towards the water.
But if my back cramps backwards like in the cartoons, you're taking full responsibility.
Ludwig rolls his eyes, looking over his shoulder to smirk at Suzuka.
And you wonder why I tell you to stop watching that nonsense.
They start to run to the water, laughing and giggling as they tug each other along. Reaching the water, Ludwig attempts to walk delicately into it the same way he first walked onto the beach, but Suzuka grabs both his arms and pulls him in.
Ah, hey!
Come on. You wanted to take a dip, right?
Susie, I swear!
Ludwig tries to sound cross but cannot contain his laughter. He chases Suzuka in circles, splashing the shallow water at him. Suzuka splashes him back, their rambunctious laughter filling the air.
Watch the hair, you ruffian!
You started it!
Woohoo! And I'm gonna finish it!
Ludwig lunges at Suzuka, tackling him to the ground.
Oof!
Suzuka lands on his back, the spikes of his shell sinking into the sand. Ludwig rolls off of him, also lying on his back. They lie there, catching their breaths from laughing as the warm waves pool around their bodies.
I can't believe you.
Suzuka teases, turning his head to grin at Ludwig. Ludwig shakes his head, his smile stretching across his face.
I believe it is yourself you should be in disbelief of.
Nuh-uh.
Yes,
Ludwig turns his head to Suzuka, gently nudging his arm.
Oh, come on. You can't really blame me for trying to give you a good time.
Well, I would have appreciated it more if you had been more practical in your approach.
Ludwig closes his eyes, turning his head away with his nose in the air.
Well, you are such a teaser,
Suzuka says, propping himself up with his elbow. Ludwig grins, opening his eyes.
Only because you give me the most amusing reactions.
Suzuka blushes a bit, trying to hold back a smile as he lays back down. Ludwig turns to his side, smiling softly.
Come on, can you really blame me for trying to give you a good time?
Suzuka definitely can't hold back his smile now. He holds a hand over his mouth, although it doesn't do much to conceal his smile. Ludwig feels his chest grow warm as he watches Suzuka avert his eyes, his blush growing more noticeable.
Uh-huh. There it is.
Ludwig teases again, but with a gentle tone. Suzuka turns back to him, his fingers sifting through the wet sand. Pinching his claws together, he makes tiny, sort of sandcastles. Ludwig watches with amusement, deciding to join in. He digs his palm into the sand, pushing it into a mound. Suzuka copies, helping to make a solid foundation. Their hands work in unison, molding the malleable earth to create a castle. About 20 minutes pass until they both decide the creation is good enough. Taking in the sight of the imperfect, lumpy mass, they both giggle.
Well, it certainly looks a bit shoddy.
No, it doesn't.
Suzuka says reassuringly. Using his claw, he draws a smiley face on the castle.
It just has character.
Ludwig smiles wide, chuckling.
I suppose you're right.
Suzuka smiles with Ludwig, their eyes meeting in a gaze.
I think I like it better this way.
The sandcastle being having character?
Yeah. It's not about the way it looks. It's about how we made it together and had fun with it.
A fond expression washes over Ludwig's face. Letting out a soft sigh, he says,
How did I ever get so lucky to meet someone as wonderful as you?
I asked myself the same thing with you.
Suzuka chuckles, blushing.
Really?
Ludwig quirks a playful eyebrow.
Me? Wonderful?
Yes, Luddy. Is this not why we're best friends?
Suzuka says with a gentle yet serious tone. Ludwig can feel the warmth rising in his chest.
I must agree with that.
Ludwig murmurs. Once again, his mind starts to flood with emotions he doesn't fully understand. He gets lost in his thoughts, staring into Suzuka's eyes, yet seeing right through him. Suzuka stares back, contemplating if he should say anything. But with the wonderful weather and quiet atmosphere, he chooses not to. Instead, he allows himself to get lost in Ludwig's own eyes. The sun inches closer to the west as time passes. Seagulls cry above, the warm waves growing calmer, just washing over their feet. The two find tranquility in each other's silent company, perfectly unbothered until the sound of distant talking reaches their ears.
Sounds like others are coming down.
Suzuka mumbles, opening his eyes.
Indeed it does.
Ludwig says, sitting up. He stretches an arm over his head.
Are you ready?
Oh, you wanted to leave?
Suzuka sits up on his elbow.
Yes, if that's all right with you. I'd rather not be in the presence of others.
Suzuka chuckles.
All right then.
The boys make their way back to the picnic blanket and begin to pack everything up. By the time anyone else approaches the sand, they've already taken their leave.
Am I walking back to the castle with you?
Suzuka asks as they make their way through the tropical environment.
Absolutely.
Ludwig nods.
You can use the guest bathroom to wash up. Oh, would you like to stay the night as well?
Ludwig looks at Suzuka, a glimmer of hope in his eyes.
Oh, sure.
Suzuka smiles.
I can text my mom and let her know.
Oh, wonderful.
Ludwig smiles.
I've been having too much of a good time to part ways with you just yet.
Suzuka smiles and chuckles, his cheeks slightly blushing once again.